Anyways, the subject I'd like to discuss today is in my opinion, a rather moot subject. But there's some people going to say you didn't speak about it, so I have no choice but to speak about it. That's when to make the Suda this Purim. In my opinion, you should do one thing, and that's only for practical reasons. As far as halach is concerned, there's another option, which could be relatively just as lechatchila. And in my opinion, somebody should make the Suda early. If you could start before Chatzos, a half hour before Chatzos, and be sober and daven mincha before Shabbos, then you did a great job. Just probably not such a great job of Purim, but a pretty civil job. And that's what I think that the best thing to do is that who wash area. That, in my opinion, is also good. I'll just say I don't like to share my drinking habits with others, but I'll share it with you for the halachic purposes. I myself drink an amount throughout the day on a regular Purim. Not enough that I can't daven, but this way, when I have the Suda, I don't have to drink so much in order to be Makayim the mitzvah. What's called be Makayim the mitzvah? If we have time, maybe we'll discuss that now. But most people were teenagers, so they know the answer to the question. You're never Yaitza enough, right? That's what a teenager will say. But anyways, that's as far as that's concerned. The other option of being Paris, Mapu, Makadesh, which actually, when I was driving to Second Seder, somebody asked me, what do I think about it? I said, I think it's a wonderful idea for people who are not regular and don't lead regular lives. But for those who have families, wives, etc., so I don't think that you end up really having a good Sudas Purim and a good Shabbos meal. But that's a preference, that's not a halachic position. So if you tell me it works for you, that's fine. I won't believe you, but I'm not going to check it out either. So you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to try to discuss a little bit the issues, the pros and cons therein. Okay, that's what I'd like to discuss today. Tafresh Tzadikei. Okay. The first thing I would like to mention is, do you need bread at the Sudas Purim? Okay. Let me ask you a different question. Do you need bread at Suda Shlishis? Wow. How did you do that all in one sentence? First, you said an unequivocal statement that if it's a Suda, it has to have lechem. And then you just went to say with the same amount of force that if it's only a lechatchila. I've been here the whole time. I heard. Okay. All right. Suda Shabbos, do you have to have lechem? Okay. So Suda Shabbos is a chiyuv, Suda Shlish is a chiyuv, and you paskin differently in each one, right? I don't know why. I don't think it's the same. Now I'll just point out the Shari Tshuva over here. It says, "Ayin Birkei Yosef b'Shem Echad Kadosh." Somebody asks me, do you have to have lechem at Sudas Purim? I will say you should. Without breathing? Yeah, you'll probably be without wine too. I don't think it says anyways that you have to have wine.
Again, you should or you shouldn't?
What are you talking about? What was the subject? You just
in regard to lechem.
You should have bread.
Should have bread.
You should have bread. Your yaitza, if you didn't, but you should have bread. Okay? Well, you are Yates, you didn't, and this is relevant for many people. I'm not going to give drinking lessons right now. It depends on what's going on in your life, what you have to have. Let's first discuss that. All right. Chayv inish tough reish tzadik hey if bays. Fellow, I would like to mention that there is a written piece by somebody who asked Rabbi Yashiv, and that's worth whatever it's worth. But from the way that it looks to me, it's at least 90% accurate. No, they're not going to give it 100% accurate, but it seems to me clear that there's this was Yashiv's opinion, be'erach, and this in Karelitz is quoted in Chutshani, almost the same idea. And I will just say, even though the Yisrael Halperin's wife is from not the generation of celiac, most celiac people are well under 40. I think, is that true, Yisrael? Do you know? It's a relatively new disease, at least a known new disease. And most celiac people are younger people. And there are many who say that this is all to be blamed on the junk food that we eat. What? Yeah, genetic engineering and whatever. It's, it didn't happen 1,000 years ago because they didn't do what we do 1,000 years ago. But that's neither here nor there. And both of them say that the chiyuv of Suda on Shabbos, that you have to have lechem, is because you have to have your prominent Suda. If your prominent Suda does not consist of lechem ever, so you don't have to have lechem. You do not have to force yourself for Kiddush V'Makom Suda to have 2 cups of wine or to eat bread. If you're a celiac person that you never eat bread, that's fine. Because Kiddush V'Makom Suda just means that you have to have Kiddush and the Suda that's prominent to you. And if you, for your issues, cannot have it that way, then it's good enough without it. Now, what happens if a guy decides that he wants to go on a wheat-free diet or something like that? I don't think that they discuss that, but for this person, this is what they say. And yeah, that's so the celiac person on Purim, he's okay. He doesn't have to have. That's for sure. He doesn't have to have what you call it. Yeah. Wow. I don't know. and no kreplach either. There's a Suffolk Jew. Suffolk Jew. That's like very serious. All right. Anyways. All right. And since it's not Purim, I'm not going to try to explain what in the world mean. It's good enough to say that we understand it means that you have to be drunk. We'll just leave it at that. You don't have to get so drunk that you can't tell the difference. So here's Mefurish in the Shulchan Aruch in Hilchos Purim that says you have to learn on Purim. Right? So if you want to drink a lot, you're mechuyev to learn a lot. Is that what it says? Okay. Is that what it says? Just to be more than limudo. You can't have, no? Am I reading okay or did I drink too much? I don't know. Anyways, the Yishan, and then you should go to sleep, and then you don't know the difference are Haman Baruch Mordechai. Without Shiashan and then Baruch Haman Mordechai. Lecher Amam and Lecher Amamit. So if we were learning this Be'iyun, you would understand that this makes no sense at all. Because we gave a shear, and then we said the shear doesn't make any difference. When I'm finished with the Shulchan Aruch, what does it say? Or actually the other way, what does it say? Both. Okay. But can they coexist? That's the question. No, listen, we're not talking about that a big guy he needs 10 gallons and a small guy needs 3 gallons. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how drunk do you have to get, right? So Ramah says, if as long as you got drunk l'shem shemayim, that's good enough. How drunk, it doesn't make a difference. That's the way it reads. What? That's a chiddush. I don't know. I have a good question. At a certain point, he's putter, right? Because he's already striker. So, how's he Makayim or anything? Okay. Anyways, we'll leave that part alone. I don't think anybody over here gets blasted, so we don't have to worry about that part over here. V'ayim l'kavu tafku samaches. V'yeshen og a little bit of Shabbos v'yom tov v'purim. V'chein nochol nasa so it's Purim l'achar mincha. And we'll make no yelach suv l'achar mincha. V'arbish yispalu b'layla. Don't daven ma'ariv early. V'mishpalu mincha tchila mi ba'od yom. And you make the mincha, you daven mincha early in the daytime. V'roiv hasuda tzricha liyos b'yom. V'loi k'mo she'nohagim. And not like the minig, lahaschel samuch la'erev, ve'ikra asuda hi b'lel kesov. Don't do like the minig and call you so. Do like I'm telling you. When I was in yeshiva, we did like the minig and call you so. And I think in many places they do like the minig and call you so. So how can we do like the minig and call you so if the Ramos says not to do like the minig and call you so? So I'm going to share with you the first day that I was sitting Shimush by Rav Moshe Halberstam, and this actually reverberated in my mind this Motzei Shabbos when I went to the Kaisel. I knew from the time that I was a bocher that Rav Moshe Halberstam held that if you live in Yerushalayim, you don't have to do Kriya when you go to the Kaisel. So I knew. Those who didn't want to do Kriya, they would ask for Moshe Halberstam, and he told me you don't have to. And as you do, I was not from those people. And more or less, I'm still not from those people. Came around Corona, and I had a month's time that I couldn't do Kriya. Last month of Shabbos, I went to the Kaisel, armed with all of my paraphernalia. And usually when I go to do Kriya, I usually go in the daytime where you could see the Ritzvah of Harabayas. And I was wondering, how am I going to do that tonight? I just thought it was very interesting. I was in the Iratika, and it was full of people. It was pretty amazing. It's a good thing the police weren't there because there was no 2 meters anywhere. Anyways, so I decided I'm going to go down to Chof Mizgab L'Dach and see if I could find myself a nice perch. And I met somebody, and I said, do you know where I could do Kriya? So he says, come with me. And he took me to an amazing place. I was able to see everything. And do Kriya was a wonderful, God-sent experience. I hope never to do Kriya again on the Kaisel. Anyways, so what? Yeah, obviously, right? Not talking about that I should be going to the Kaisel forever. We should never have to do Kriya again at the Kaisel. Anyways, so the first day I was by Moshe Halberstam, someone came in and asked him, do you have to rise Kriya when you go to the Kaisel if you live in Yerushalayim? And he said, you don't have to. The Chidah says the minig is not to. And my blood was boiling. The Chidah says the exact opposite. I didn't say anything. After the fellow left, I pulled out a Chidah. And I said to him, the Rav said the Chidah says you don't have to. I'd like to show the Rav the Chidah, something like that. So he looked at me very sternly and said, read. And I read the Chidah, and it said exactly what I said, that you have to write Kriya. And there's a big smile on his face, so I know that something went wrong someplace. So he said, read carefully. What does the Chidah says? The Chidah says the minig is not to do Kriya They're speaking about Chevron, but it's the same thing if you live there. So what does the Chida say? He said, that's the minig. So he said, he asked what to do. I said, the Chida says the minig is that you don't do Kriya. Did I say what the Chida holds? Did I say that? Gotta know how to read. Right? So that was my first day on the job. You can understand I had a very long 10 years. Anyways, but it's a fascinating story. What does the Chida say? That's the minig in Klal Yisrael. So the Ramah over here says the minig in Klal Yisrael is to make the Sudas Purim. You start in the daytime and you finish it off at night. Now, there are many reasons. There are many reasons that are given for this. I'll just share with you the Rebbe Rabbi Yonason Eibschitz's joke on this subject. Yonason Eibschitz was walking the street, and a priest met him. And the priest asked him this kasha. He says that, it's an interesting thing that the minig in Klal Yisrael is that they have the Sudas Purim from the day going into the night. Why is that? So Rabbi Yonason said to him, I'm really so happy you bumped into me because I have a question I've been looking to ask you for a long time. He said, us Jews, the day goes after the night. And by you, the Goyim, the night goes after the day. Why is it that a holiday that you have in December, it's the other way around? This is a kasha I've been looking to ask somebody for a long time. Maybe, priest, maybe you can help me out and fill me in. And the priest said, it's like a good question. I don't know the answer. So Yonason said, I'll tell you the answer. The reason why is on Purim, we celebrate one of you guys who died. So we do it like you. We do the day and then the night that follows. December, you're celebrating one of us that was born. So you do it like we do. You have the night beforehand. Okay, so that's the Pasha shot. Anyways, so this is the reason, and I say this is not the reason, but this is the minig has been around for a long time. It's before Purim, so allowed to say over such a story. Anyways, the Ramah says that one should finish the Suda, right, but the Suda should be in the daytime. And I will just mention, on a more serious note, what do we care? In other words, if I had whatever it takes to be a Sudas Purim, on Purim, what do I care? Did you ever hear of anybody say you should be careful to make sure you finish your Suda Shlishis during Shabbos? So why should Rav Hasuda, why are we even having this discussion? Okay, and I think there are a few answers given to this question, but pointing out what? I was Yaitza. Let's say I have a 3-hour Purim Suda. Does it make a difference if I had an hour in the day and 2 hours at night, or I had 2 hours in the day and an hour at night?
You're showing.
But I was a Yaitza. 1 second. Listen, Gil, just listen. I have a 3-hour Purim. I'll get to you, Chef, in a second. I have a 3-hour Purim Suda. I had 2 hours 2 hours at night and 1 hour in the day. You had a 45-minute Purim Suda, and you had it all that day. Who's more lechatchila? Answer my question.
One is the timing, and one is the
I had an hour in the daytime, and you had 45 minutes in daytime, and you were more Yaitza than me. What does it bother you? What does it bother you?
Announcement of the Baker Purim mix.
So would you say that that's true by Suda Shlishis also?
It's motion. But here, when you're making the dugget.
1 second. 1 second. If there's wouldn't be, I don't. It's not like an Iyun share. But if there was no halacha here in Mishnah Berurah, would we have thought this to be a subject at all? What?
Are we,
Okay, Sheffer, what do you want to say?
are we
Sheffer?
concerned about the Alanisim?
Now,
If you go too far
No,
into
you
the
don't.
night, we're concerned about the Alanisim.
There's still felonies, and everybody says you can felonies. That's not a problem. That's not the problem. All right, we'll just leave it right now, and you have till next year to think of an answer to this question. Anyways, ושמע מתחיל המלך הגדול מבעוד יום, ויום של שמיני די, כמו שלנו, ועשו סמוך הערב, okay. Okay, Shechal, here we are. This is the part which I wanted to learn. The other part was just to make sure you're not sleeping. Shtel Purim B'Yom Shishi, Yasu Asuda B'Shachris, Mishum Kavod Shabbos. Because there's a cost. You're going to have it on Friday afternoon, so then you're going to come to Shabbos not so interested in Yasuda Shabbos. That's not the best time, but it's okay. It's kosher. Okay, that's all. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Where are we? Achar Mincha, Ches. Why do we do it Achar Mincha? משום דתורידים בשלח מונוס, ונמשכים ברוב עד המנחה. People are busy doing שלח מונוס. ואסור להסחו סודה, ואסור להסחו בסודה כל המנחה, if you're going to be doing it until, let's say, 11 o'clock, so then you're going to run into, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, according to all opinions, Sudas Purim is called the Suda Sheyesh Bo Shikras. I think that, yeah, you're asking to that? That's the Chana Pashup shot, right? This one doesn't need much of a heifer. It's called the Suda Sheyesh Bo Shikras. And you shouldn't have it, so since you're going to run into the wrong time. I would just like to stop and say something which is fascinating. A person is not supposed to eat before he's Makayim the mitzvahs hayom. And we know that in years gone by, we spoke about eating before hearing the Megillah. And according to some poskim, one should not eat a kibetza of mezainos on Purim morning before being Makayim the mitzvahs of Shalach Manas and Matanos Nevi'onim. And according to some, Sudas Purim. But Pasha not Sudas Purim. So therefore, there are those who say that a person should wash in the morning. Or skip that for a minute. So we're going to say that a person, before he eats breakfast, he should be Makayim the mitzvah Matanos Nevi'onim and Shalach Manas. If you gave already the money to the Gabbai, that's enough. Now, you don't have to have that the Oni got it. You have to make sure that you did your part. Whatever your part is, you gave it to the Gabbai, that's good enough. You don't have to have the befall that the Oni got it. And you gave your Matai Shalach Manas, so then you're ready, okay. But some say one should do that. But there are those who do that they eat a Suda in the morning, and this way they Makayim Aziz and Magdilim, so to speak, on the Suda. But is there really a reason to have it in the afternoon? No, we have a technical problem. What technical problem? This year, so people are going to be mavatir on a certain amount of Shalach Manas because the time restraint. So you can make it in the morning. That's better to do. Because of you shouldn't have your Suda alone. You should have other people there. And this is such an important halacha that I believe that 1 year ago, many of you would not really have understood the next couple of words in the Mishnah Berurah. And this year, it's Pashup Pshat. Why should you have it with other people? The Eshel is small keroi biyochid. When you're in bitud, it's hard to be happy. Anybody need a hesper in that this year, or this year makes sense? I'm not joking. The Chavetz Chaim writes about this in Avas Chesed. A person needs to have other people there in order for him to be able to experience simcha. We are social creatures. And even though we may have partitions over here, but we're all in this together. When we call Mokom simcha till divrei Torah. You always have to have divrei Torah by Yisud Purim. Okay, Mario. Okay. So here we have somebody asked, what's the best time to have the Suda? So we answer the question. The best time to have the Suda is Purim morning. There's a concept about a person who eats on Friday afternoon and the Suda runs into Shabbos, that he does this thing called Paris Mapu Makadish. Paris Mapu Makadish means that when Shabbos intersects your meal, you make Kiddush and you continue your Suda. Is there any Kiddush in that halacha?
You can have your Shabbos Suda before davening Ma'ariv.
You're allowed to eat your Shabbos before davening Ma'ariv, according to Kamat, all of the places. But yes, they'll suffice with that answer. According to Mishnah Berurah, says clearly that you're allowed to do that. So I'll have a question. Ask you a question. A person who always eats delicacies, a king. So the Mishnah Berurah is concerned about him in Hilchos Shabbos. Maybe one day we'll learn these halachas. How does he make his Suda Shabbos distinctive? And Mishnah Berurah says that if he has no other way to make it distinctive, he should at least eat it at a different time. Which is it has to be evident that you're eating for Shabbos. One would have thought that if you're having your Suda, you're having your weekday Suda, and now Shabbos is coming, so you have to have a Shabbos Suda, so close up shop and reopen. Bench, and then make a Suda Shabbos. That should be the covered Shabbos. Kamash Malon, the halacha is that one is not obligated to do that. I didn't hear you, what? Is that enough? Okay.
What do you want benching though? That's a bit of a problem.
What's the problem?
How can you bench, well, for 2 different days? You don't want to do that.
Okay. Maybe, yeah, the problem on Shabbos, on what's the Shabbos when it's Rosh Chodesh, right?
Yeah, well, Rosh Chodesh is not before you. You're not before you so much on Rosh Chodesh Suda.
Are you here? What was the first halacha that I said? First halacha that I said here tonight.
It's a machlokas. Okay, what
was the first halacha that I said here tonight? Do you have to eat bread on Purim?
What's that? No, but you the Suda. Rosh Chodesh not before you Suda.
So you asked me, what are you going to do about benching? What was your question?
Yeah, but you are benching.
I said, well, how you? We discussed Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh, you don't have to have a Suda.
Okay, whatever. It's still a problem. Fine. You want to push me off? Yeah, it's a problem. It's a big. I think it's a big problem.
Well, it's a big problem. Okay.
I know it's a problem. I mean, there's
all right.
a reason not to do it. Yeah.
I don't think you could say both. You could say both. I'm an anti personal Makadish altogether. I don't think it's a. I don't like it. Besides, for the guy who's plastered under the table, the guy has a wife and kids that are human beings, right? And that was the Shabbos. I'm not for it. Not that I'm not for it from a halachic perspective. That's a many boys can say. What? So that's what I'm going to learn right now. I'm right now learning Reish Ayin Aleph Sif test. No, this is the wrong place. Should be here. Sorry, Reish Ayin Aleph Sif Dalet. Same page, same place, wrong page. Also, Lito Klum Kodev Shekadish. Afilu mine. Afilu Hischem Ibod Yom. Even if you start eating beforehand, Tzach Lahafsik, you have to stop. Shapoiris Mapu Makadish. You put a cover on the bread and then you make Kiddush. And if you're drinking wine before Shabbos came in, you know, you already made a boy piagofen in the meal beforehand. I'm just going to share with you a question from today's generation. I heard from our yeshiva, should be well, that if you look, and I've seen this since he pointed it out, I've seen this many, many times, every generation has their shilas, and even different gedolim that didn't see each other, for some reason, the same questions rise all the time. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach and Rav Vosner both have the same question. And this could happen to a guy that davens here in Abba Shalom. This guy davens here in Abba Shalom. So Pi Halacha, he goes to the Kiddush club on Shabbos morning, and he makes Kiddush, and he has his mezainis, and he goes home. He has no reason to make Kiddush again up. He's the strict Halacha. And his wife and his kids all went to some bar mitzvah in the other side of the Ramah. They came home at 11 o'clock, and you don't come home from a Kiddush starving. Anyways, and they come home, and they wash, and they had company, and the company brought a bottle of wine, and they had some wine, and then his wife says, so what did Rabbi Jacob say by the Kiddush club today? And he said, whoa, this week they didn't make a Kiddush club. I forgot. Now here he is in the middle of the Shabbos Suda, and they make Kiddush. What's the Kiddush that you make on Shabbos morning? You make a shahako, probably. You would like to, huh? Right? Well, you make a bar pregofen on the wine, right? He already had wine. They didn't have him on a Kiddush. So what do you do? Today's Purim, right? So what do you do? So there's a machlokes. What do? You like this question, Shlomo? If I'm not mistaken, if Shlomo Zalman says, you pour yourself a becher of wine, and you say, Harei zu Kiddush. Which word did you understand? All you have to do is you're having a cup. Why do you make a bar begofen on the wine?
Because you have to drink it.
You have to drink it. Oh, 1 second. You know, I'm not a Chassidish guy. This Shamro and Zohar, that's great for all those guys who wear a garklach. You don't have to do anything. You just say bar begofen and drink. Right? So no, I don't have to say bar begofen. Just drink. Right? Just drink. That's all you have to do. I don't know what Zalman says, but you have to have it somehow that it should be pronounced that it's for the Toshka. Say Harei zu Kiddush, and then you drink it. But Gamarnu. The Moses says that's not enough. You have to bench. Everybody has a whole process what to do because you have to somehow make a ritual out of it. I don't have a better word to use. Then you make some kind of ritual out of it in order that it should be good. But here, and this is what the Mishnah Berurah says over here. That which you're not mechuyev to do another mitzvah when you're already eating beheter, that's if you have to change gears and go and do something else. But over here, since Kiddush is part of the Suda, so you have to make Kiddush in the middle. Ulechatchila iskin sheikadish kaidim suda b'makom suda. What do you do? Paris mapa. Lechasoy sapas ad achar akidish. You cover it up. V'achar kach yisirenu. And if we learn one day Hilchos B'tzias Sapas, we'll discuss the machlokes in the achronim. And I'm sure all of you have seen different minhagim. There are some people that after they make kiddush, they take the challah dekel off, and they make hamoitzi with the challahs exposed. And there's some people that are makbid that they make hamoitzi with the challah still under cover. And there's a machlokes as to what the reason is. That's as to what the minhagim. You have to make it look that now you're making a suda covered Shabbos. So that's what you do. Ari, what's your name? Ari said before. Even though it's die the prisas mapa, that you're making a statement that you gotta stop eating covered Shabbos, and that makes the rest of the meal from here on in. My suda is a Shabbos suda. Below birchas hayayin, you don't have to make a bracha on the wine. Why do you have to make a bracha on the wine? So what about hamoitzi? Huh? Well, we're gonna see. Machlokes. Fascinating. Okay. Why do you have to make a bracha on the wine? The key when the berach kvar is a chasuda, but chila shtias you may tzach levarach at the bar biagaf from klein kiddush. Who I didn't change tzach levarach aliyan shem say chasuda. The aim shom has chadas. You can continue drinking, and you can go drive on the bar biagaf that you said beforehand. V'achach more bracha ma'isi. V'anek shabal ligma suda so bracha ma'isi mechodesh. Ve'eno yoytzi ma'ma'isi shabich b'tchilas suda. Why not? Since it was also to continue your suda, so therefore, you're not. What about the wine? Oh, that's a fascinating question. There's a discussion in the poskim about that. I have a friend of mine in Yerushalayim who he has a very serious heart condition. Now that he's the chazan on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and he drinks during davening, even on Yom Kippur, and he drinks shiurim. And a bunch of years ago, he approached me, and he said that he drinks more than a revius, but less than the shir. And he wants to know. I'm sorry, he drinks less than a revius also, but he does it every 9 minutes, which according to some, he works it out at Be'etzem, and he wants to know, does he have to make a new bracha on the water every time? And the question revolves about this halacha we're talking about right now. Since he had enough to drink, so now it became usher for him to continue drinking. So you can't call it a hamshich of the shtia if it was usher in the middle. And there's a marsham about this question. This is a fascinating question. Anyways, what happened to the Hamoitzi? The field Hamoitzi, some places say you don't make Hamoitzi. The Sfilei, the Kiddush Le'av Hefsek, and some say Kiddush is not a Hefsek. Even the Safek Brachos Lahakil, Yesh Litvos Yesh Oiber Achroinim, and you don't make Hamoitzi. So you requires Mapa Makadish, you don't say a Bar Biagofen, you don't say Hamoitzi. So there is some kind of a halachic issue with doing this, but as far as I'm concerned, you have to know how to do it. That's why I'm learning it inside. But my personal suggestion, not halachic suggestion. Why do you have a hard time? You can't count the two? Yeah, right.
Can you go in the middle of the suda?
You can, and there's a question whether you have to make a new bracha.